Hello everyone, it is Mask Monday here today and we are going to be talking about whether you should be self-taught, professionally taught makeup artist, the pros and cons of both. I'm excited to get into this chat. This is something that I feel very passionately about, so let's jump in. Firstly, we need to put on a mask. I don't know what I did with it. Found it. Today I'm going to be using the Grown Alchemist mask. This is a really beautiful one. Because I have dry skin, I have been noticing that I've been having just a little bit of congestion around my nose, but I want to clear this out, but I don't want to have anything too stripping, like a, I don't know, Glam Glow Super Mud mask or anything, so I wanted to go for something a little bit more gentle that's still going to cleanse. I love this mask because it's not super stripping, it's not super drying, it does clear my congestion. I would say that it probably didn't have as adequate congestion clearing as, say, the Glam Glow Super Mud or the Lush Mask of Magnum-Minty, but this one is fantastic if you are a little bit more sensitive but still want to be able to deep clean your skin. It also doesn't dry to a super dry finish and it doesn't leave my skin irritated, which is perfect. So that's what I'm going to be using today. Let me get a little mirror. I'm going to pop this on and then we're going to start our chat. I feel like I should just squeeze this straight on my face. What do we think? Is this a good technique of mask application? I want it a little bit thicker today so that I can talk more and it doesn't dry out so quick, especially on the areas that I do get a little bit more congested. My nose, my cheeks. Stop it! Things keep going bump in the night over here. It's getting a little bit creepy. Getting a little bit scary. Just before, when I was writing down all of my pros and cons for this video, fire alarm started going off, so I went to check it. No fire. I couldn't quite reach the little button, but after maybe 4 meows, it all of a sudden turned off by itself. My fridge started beeping, telling me that the cooler drawer wasn't cool enough. And then I keep having all of these random fucking noises coming from my computer now. And I swear to God it's Satan. I just know it. And I'm getting real freaked out because a couple of days ago I watched some of Tana Mojo's videos on her ghost stories and ooh, I don't know, I feel like I've been more in touch with ghosts since then. And I'm like, leave me alone. You've left me alone for a majority of my life. Can you not leave me alone now when I'm trying to film a video? Like a little bit rude, eh? The audacity of ghosts these days. So the purpose of this video is not to look pretty. Just so you know, it's to speak about topics while doing a mask. I don't know, I just came up with this idea. I now have heaps of mask stuff on my hands. Give me a second, I'm gonna wipe it off. Okay, doke. So, that was my chair, not a ghost. That was my chair, not a ghost, it's fine. I've kind of been having this thought go around in my head for a little while about whether it would recommend being self-taught over professionally trained, my thoughts on all of that, so I did want to talk about it and kind of go through pros and cons of each. So I think probably the reason most people would come here is because they want me to tell them that being self-taught is fine. And as a makeup artist myself, I do kind of feel like I'm in two minds about being self-taught, but here are the pros. So I guess the best thing about being self-taught is that it's completely free. That is probably a huge deterrent from actually attending a school, and I 100% understand that. So being self-taught is completely free, which is fantastic, and a huge selling point for being self-taught and having the internet. We have access to so much information here online, and we can't take that for granted. And I think we're kind of past the point now where we say every single person in every single profession has to be professionally trained. I think we've moved past that. I think people have access to enough information that we can now say for a lot of professions we definitely don't have to be professionally trained anymore. That is fantastic and something that we can't take for granted. Another thing that I think is really fantastic about being self-taught is obviously you can completely tailor your education around your interests. So for example, you could watch, I don't know, hours, hundreds of hours of videos on cut creases because that's something you're really interested in and something that you want to be able to offer your clients. To reiterate, by the way, this conversation is all about actually becoming a makeup artist, not just performing makeup on yourself. This would be taking on clients and which one I think is best. So being able to tailor your education towards your style is huge and will definitely increase your motivation to complete something, right? To actually really learn something if you're truly interested in that particular subcategory of makeup artistry. And I think that is fantastic. Definitely self-taught makeup artists can do a cut crease, a contour unlike anything I've ever seen, and they are just really good places to be able to tailor your education, which is fantastic and something we can't take for granted again. Another thing that I think's really fantastic about being self-taught is you don't really have to vibe with a teacher, right? You can kind of look online. If you find that you don't like someone in particular, you can 100% just unsubscribe or go and check out someone else's videos and follow them. You can pick and choose who you connect with and who has the same ethos and values as you. So you really create this community around your art where you are surrounded and you consume the information that really tailors itself to you and really creates this, I don't know, this like happiness about being in the industry. That is one of the huge perks, is there's just an unlimited amount of teachers and you don't have to vibe with anyone. You don't have to be stuck in a certain way of thinking. I think another pro, if we're continuing on from that, is just the unlimited amount of information. We just simply can't recreate it in a professional training setting. We can't recreate the hundreds of hours of training that you could get online. You can literally sit and watch makeup tutorials and how to be a makeup artist and how to stock your kit and how to, I don't know, do a cut crease, how to work on your skin tone, how to recommend skincare for dry skin types, whatever you want. You can literally watch hundreds of hours of that particular content and you could never run out of content ever. You could continue to watch 24 hours a day for the rest of your life and you will never run out of content to watch. That is just unprecedented. That is something that is huge and a real huge positive. You don't have to be constrained to Monday to Friday, 9 to 3 or whatever your hours are for your school. You can literally watch them any time of the night. And carrying on from that as well, you can watch it at midnight if you want. You can watch it on the weekend. You can literally, you don't have to attend a class. You don't have to stick to anyone else's schedule. You can literally do whatever you want, whenever you want, and really tailor your education towards that. I want to talk now about the pros of being formally trained, just as like a flip side to that, and then I can talk about the cons of both. So being self-taught is incredibly useful. You have a huge amount of information, and being professionally trained is also hugely educational and really important. I feel like the difference between them are huge and also not. Like, it's kind of this double-edged sword where you're still learning about the same type of something. And what I really like about being formally trained is you make sure you have your whole curriculum. So regardless of whether or not something interests you, you're going to learn about everything. You're going to learn about wedding makeup, about makeup for TV. You're going to learn about mature skin, stuff that you perhaps wouldn't ever look up if you were doing your own training. You're going to get a little bit of everything. You kind of get a little bit of everything that you'll need to know to get started. I think that's fantastic as well, because then you make sure that you really have like this rounded wealth of knowledge. I also think another really good thing about being formally trained is that you can pretty much, if you do your research on the school, you can pretty much trust the validity of your teachers. You know that they're going to be working in the industry, they're going to have done it for a really long time. You know you can trust their opinion if you go to them and they give you feedback. That's another great thing, is that you are always getting feedback on your work, so you know where you can improve, as opposed to just seeing your own work and being like, yeah, it's good, and not really knowing where to go from there if you're self-taught. I think having teachers there and that wealth of knowledge within your teachers is fantastic and a really good resource for doing pretty much anything else, which I really like. I also really love that you're surrounded. So if you're in a classroom of 30 people, you're surrounded by those other 29 people that have exactly the same interest as you. You're all there to learn about how to apply makeup to other people, and it's really refreshing, and it's nice to constantly be surrounded by people that you can bounce ideas off of and really connect with. You will find at least one other person there, I'm sure of it, that you really hit it off with and that you guys have the same style, or you can learn from each other. You know, that's another thing, is like, if I really like Instagram makeup and I've been doing that for forever or whatever, and you are fantastic at doing a winged eyeliner on a more mature lady, I can learn from you. I can learn so many other things that I would never probably know to really learn at home, because I'm not around those people that have the same interests and the in a slightly different skill set, and you can build each other up and help each other, which is fantastic. There's kind of nothing comparable to having a community of people and being able to bounce off of each other. I think that's really important. I also think that like as we are going on and we start to take clients, you look far more credible. You're probably much more likely to actually book your very first few clients because you look like, with your qualification, they feel like they're able to trust you a little bit more. I feel like we definitely have the stigma against self-taught artists, and clients going to you really want to know that you know what you're talking about, just the exact same as we would with a teacher. We want to know that the teacher actually has the qualifications to be able to teach us, right? Same thing with makeup artistry. And furthermore from that, you have gotten training, thorough training on the practices and the standards of sanitization. Looking online, the information can be widely incorrect. They could be too thorough, they could be not thorough enough. You get to learn where you can cut corners, say during fashion week, and where you absolutely cannot, such as mascara wands. I don't know, you learn how you can really make sure that your clients are as safe as absolutely possible. So I think that both options are fantastic and have lots of pros to them, but I do want to talk a little bit more about the cons of each of them. I kind of feel like with self-taught makeup artistry, the information can be a little bit less than reliable. So you have access to all of those teachers, fantastic, but it doesn't mean that all of those teachers have the right to teach you or have the correct information. It's really easy, I think, on the internet to get caught up with incorrect information. It is a huge problem with self-taught artists, is that they just don't really know who they can trust. They don't know, you know, it takes a lot of time to really get to know someone and to build up that rapport with them where you trust everything that they say online. And if someone is hired by a makeup school, it might not take as long. Another thing with talking about how you can really hone into your interest online, I think it is important to mention as well that you can focus too much on, it is a plane or a helicopter or something, it's probably here to catch that ghost. There's a ghost in here. Excuse me, sir. There's definitely a ghost in here. You should come see it. You can go headfirst into learning everything about completely carved brows, right? And then when it comes to you getting your first client, they go, I want something really natural and fluffy. And you're like, I have literally no idea how to do that, thanks. And you will have less knowledge about the wider variety of things, perhaps, than you would about a really small specific set of skills that you have. And I do feel like makeup artists, while we do further down our career get very into our style and we can become very well known for our style, I think for the majority of us just trying to make a dollar, we need to be very versatile. And I don't know if being self-taught really caters towards that. It does if you're very driven and you know exactly what you want to learn. And I'm not saying by any means that self-taught artists can't be flexible. Not saying that. It's just harder when you have access to exactly the type of stuff you want to learn versus stuff that you might not have as much interest in. It might not be as pertinent to you as a person. I think also like the lack of information in certain areas is really huge as well. So when I said that you have an unlimited amount of information to look at, I think you also have to be really mindful about what sort of information you seek out and what you want to learn. It won't just keep popping up to you, okay, this week we're doing makeup for TV shows, this week we're doing makeup on men. It's not like that. Your YouTube feed isn't like that. It'll be like, wow, you've watched 15 videos on cut creases, have some more fucking videos of cut creases. And that's just it. That's all you're going to learn. And so you have to be really mindful about the kind of content you are seeking out. Another thing with having so much information versus being in a class setting is I feel like if you are watching it at home, for majority of people, you can just be consuming and not actually accepting any of the content. The content's just going straight over your head. It's there, you know you're watching something, but none of it's going in. I do that all the time. I mindlessly watch and read things all the time. But if I'm in a class setting, I am so much more focused. I'm so much more able to actually pay attention. I can get my teachers to clarify if I don't understand something. It's very different. It's a very, very different way of actually consuming content. Again, this comes down to your personal drive, your ability to be able to set up your own curriculum and really stick to it, making sure that you learn everything that you need to learn in lots of different areas. One way that you could mitigate this is going onto a website that does like a makeup course online and not taking the course, okay? Not telling you to take the course, because I don't think you should ever bother with online makeup courses unless you're wanting to learn makeup just for yourself. I think in terms of makeup artistry, there's no courses at the moment that I can really stick my sticker of approval on. So I would say either get professional training in person and work on your classmates, work on models that you bring in, whatever, or you look on YouTube and you just accept that you're having an informal education. But I would not do something in the middle and do an online formal education. Your certificate nearly is never accepted as actually being a makeup certificate, and I feel like it's a waste of your time and money. But I would go on that website and I would see, or even a makeup school in your area, and see the curriculum, see what they have on offer. They will often have like study notes of what exactly you're going to learn. Take a note of all of them and then go on YouTube, search up those ones, find people you love, and make sure you follow through that entire curriculum to really make sure that you're sticking to having all of the information you can and being a really knowledgeable, flexible, widely trained person. I think you can definitely be that while being self-taught, just like you can definitely be formally educated and learn fucking nothing because you just sit there really mindlessly all day and you don't actually apply yourself. Saying one over the other doesn't really make sense. It's how they overlap and what sort of person you are is going to dictate whether or not you're successful in either of them. Another thing that I kind of mentioned and I touched on a little bit is that there's no one-on-one feedback. I feel like your growth could be slower if you're training in person as opposed to going to a school, because you have no one really kicking your ass telling you that you're not doing good enough, or giving you, yeah, that hair should be a little bit further over here, that lip should be a little bit more even. You know, you're training with yourself, you're practicing with yourself, but you also aren't getting that critique to allow you to grow as quickly as you would in a formal education setting. Another thing that they do in formal education that I think is really important is timing. So they will do a lot of time sensitive projects where you'll be like 45 minutes to do an entire face of makeup, and you're sitting at home spending 3 hours on a face and posting it to Instagram is not quite the same. You're not going to learn the same time pressures. You're not going to learn how to work more quickly, more efficiently. I find you also don't really know how to set up your kit on a table, how to do a proper consultation. It can be really hard to find this information online, and really important to make sure that you're hitting all of those areas of a curriculum, of a standard curriculum of things that you would need to know to be a makeup artist. Can you piss off? There's a fly buzzing its way all around my ring light and I'm getting angry. Move it. Now I wanted to touch on the cons of being formally trained. The very first and the very biggest one, the biggest one of course, is that it costs a lot of money. It's a huge thing, huge. There's no way that we can overlook the fact that people might just not have the money to pursue their passion, especially with something in an art. I think a lot of people, it's kind of a throwaway. It's like, is it a hobby? Is it my profession? I don't know. I don't want to put money into it until I know. You might only get 2 or 3 teachers in your entire year of study, half year of study, whatever you choose to do. And those teachers might have a completely different idea of what we should and shouldn't do. And that can be really hard because you don't really necessarily agree with their style. You don't agree with the way that they're teaching, you don't connect with them, you might therefore not absorb the information as readily as you would if you were online in your own time. These are definitely things to consider, and I would definitely suggest going in and meeting your teachers before you enrolled and seeing if you have a connection there, if it is something that you want to go ahead, or if you want to keep looking at other schools, if professional education is the way that you want to go. Another thing is that you will obviously have to go the pace of the class, whether it's you're speeding ahead, would you fuck off? Seriously, this fly's about to get it's about to get. You are speeding ahead of everyone at every stage, and you might find that you find it frustrating that the class is so slow. Adversely, you're like, I have no idea what these people are talking about. I have no knowledge of makeup whatsoever, and these people are just all of a sudden talking about blending. What even is blending? Where am I supposed to blend it? Why are they talking about a cheekbone? I don't know what a cheekbone is. Like, there are definitely two sides to the coin, and you have to stay at the pace of the class. That can be really frustrating either way if you're not right in the middle as a standard learner that they're expecting to have. The schools also notoriously are very antiquated. They might not have the up-to-date information that you expect and that you want from a school that you're attending. You might go in and be like, so how do we do a fucking negative space eyeliner? And they're like, we have no idea what you're talking about. Eyeliner comes in black and brown, ma'am. Who are these people that I'm pretending to be? Who are these people? Why are they here? I don't even know. But they definitely could potentially not be up to date with the current styles that you want to learn. And I think it's important to remember as well that they have a curriculum they have to stick to make sure that you learn a little bit of everything. That doesn't narrow into certain niches like Instagram eyebrows, like upside down lips and graphic liner. I don't know, like they don't have the ability, the time, the money to really tailor it into every, swear to God this fly, into every single person's interests, you know? And so you kind of have to take that as it comes and go at the pace that the class is going, and just understand that those are tried and true techniques for how to do makeup. Once you have the basis knowledge down, you're free to make any changes that you want. You can definitely become a totally different makeup artist than what they are hoping that you'll become. You can completely change the rules, but I feel like you have to know the rules before you can change the rules. So that is something that could be a con, but I think also being a little bit mindful that they're learning you that they're teaching you that for a reason, and I feel like you will be a better artist for it. I'm pretty sure that I covered all of my pros and cons that I really had for both being self-taught or being formally trained makeup artist. And at the end of the day, my personal opinion for what is best is to be both. I definitely spent years and years and years and years watching YouTube tutorials, I don't know, 10 hours a day at least, from the time that I was like 13 and I started making my own YouTube tutorial until right now, where I still watch makeup tutorials, I still watch makeup videos, and I'm still trying to learn. And then in between that, going to a makeup school, getting formally trained is unlike anything I would have ever learned on the internet. I learned things that I never even thought about, and to be honest, I never really understood or even crossed my mind. Being a trained makeup artist is unlike anything I think that you could learn by being self-taught, and being self-taught is unlike anything that you could learn by being formally trained. This may not be the information that you're wanting from the end of this video, but it is the information I'd give. So I'm waiting for my camera to switch on. Whoa, I have a moustache. You can't go wrong with both. Another great place to learn that I didn't touch on in this video is actually working at a makeup counter. Getting your hands on that volume of people is unprecedented, and the amount that you'll learn, being surrounded by professionals in the industry, getting up-to-date trainings by your company, and really learning and failing for yourself and having a company there to back you up, and just to try. You can't replicate that volume at home, and I think that that is just an amazing way to learn as well. So I 100% recommend, if you are wanting to become a makeup artist, start where you can. If all you can afford to do at the moment is to be self-taught, then start there. You really dig your feet into the basic knowledge of everything to do with makeup. Follow that curriculum that you've created and really make sure that you're continuing to learn. If you can afford to go to a makeup school but you have no training up until then, you haven't spent time going on YouTube and trying to be self-taught before then, that's fine. Start now. Get your foundation from your course, build up that love and that interest for it, and then while you're there, really dig into the subjects that you love. And I 100% recommend everyone to work at a counter. You may find that you hate it after a month, but I guarantee you will learn things that you have never learned, either being formally trained or being a student. So there are definitely pros and cons to both. I hope this video was a little bit helpful and a little bit fun. I love Mask Mondays. Also, Mask Mondays are a little bit new, so you guys are like, why are you talking about Mask Mondays? You've never ever done a Mask Monday before in your life. Very true. But it's something that I've been really interested in doing, as I do a mask pretty much once a week anyway, and I thought it would be a cool, like, informal way to sit down and have a chat about topics that I think are important. And I hope this video was informative. Bye!